Hello and welcome. Well, today we're looking at utility prices that are going up. And let me just give you a little analogy. It's about a movie I watched, and there were, a bunch of paratroopers in an aeroplane flying on a mission, and they all jumped. And somewhere in the middle, everybody sort of pushed their parachutes, and he opened, and so they sort of had a controlled landing. But there was this one soldier whose parachute wouldn't open. And so he just came tumbling and tumbling and tumbling, and God knows when he was just going to hit the ground and splat, he died. Otherwise, the other ones had their parachute opened. That's what Ghana feels like, that soldier whose parachute did not open. And he just keep tumbling and tumbling. Now, one thing which amazes me is the percentage which, institutions and states come up with. Oh, we're going to increase the price by 51%. Insurance comes up. We're going to increase our price by 800%, by 300%. I mean, at that stage, one wouldn't think it's a price increase. That's a whole new price regime. Then you have petrol, the CD. Everything seems to have a mind on its own. And yet still we're running on an automatic. And guess what? Wages are the same. And so it makes you wonder. You're going to sleep today and you wake up tomorrow and you're going to ask yourself, what can't I afford, or how far would my wages take me this month? Is that how countries are run, or are we doing something wrong? Is this our faith? Well, I don't know. But with me in the studio is Asani Tano, who's a Deputy Communication Director for the CPP. And then later on, Nana Fredua Furiata, also a member of the communication team for MPP, will join us. But we're going to start and just find out, what is our faith? Is this it, or we're doing something wrong? Asani, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana.
I'm a bit, taken aback. First, let's start with the percentages.
Okay.
Now, ironically, 1st July is when we, 1961, we severed our umbilical cord from all other countries and said, look, we are on your own. However, it's on this same 1st July that somehow through some external forces are making us increase our utilities. Electricity is going up 51.73. Water is going up by 15%. Look, even the 15%, I have an issue with it. I feel if you're going to increase something, it's gone up by maybe 2.7%, or it went up by 1.7%, or maximum maybe 3.3% increase. But 15% and 51%, to me, it's a new pricing regime. It's not an increase. But I'll leave it to you to comment.
Right. Nana, thank you very much for giving the Convention People's Party this platform. As a matter of fact, being 1st July, we expected that we were going to, as it were, educate the public and let Ghanaians know where we have come from and where we are today. But unfortunately, we were slapped with these increases. I must also say that the media have not been too fair to the memories of the Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the leader and founder of the Convention People's Party. Because throughout 1st of July, I listened to many radio stations and media houses. Nobody made mention of the speech on the 1st of July 1960. And that speech have a lot for Ghanaians. And I feel strongly that if we start educating people on those paths, the essence and the value of 1st July would have been something that the Ghanaian populace would have by now embraced and would have marked it or celebrated it in a manner that befits this country. But it hasn't been the case. The Convention People's Party seem to have been sidelined. So the good news we have for the people are always, at the backbenches. I will use this opportunity to say good evening to the whole of Ghana, which is the stronghold of the Convention People's Party. We have said, I will address your issue soon. We have said that we are not and we will never pitch our camp or our tent anywhere to say that this is our stronghold. We believe in the totality of Ghanaians' vote. And it is for this reason that I say our stronghold is in Ghana. It's the totality of Ghana. Now, with the increases, which was slapped on our faces on the 1st of July, 51.73%. That is, I mean, a whooping percentage of 52%. Like you rightly said, one would have expected increases that are commensurate with the kind of salaries and the living conditions of the people of this country. Over the period, we have all realized the kind of situation Ghanaians find themselves in as a result of this same increment with nothing to salaries. Indeed, the issue of doomsor has even made the issue worse, to the extent that many industries, companies have closed down. Already we don't even have the companies and the industries, but the few that we have been closed down. Thousands of workers have been laid off, and the person is at home. And this is what you give to the person on the 1st of July, a Republic Day. It is indeed sad, and we have said that over the period after the overthrow of the Convention People's Party, the two structural adjustment parties, that is the NPP and NDC, have really not helped this country. And it is high time the people of this country take a holistic look at the trend of voting. Change is very difficult.
Hold your thoughts there. I'm just going to take a quick break now and sneak my second guest in by the magic of TV, and then we'll continue. So don't move. Utility prices go up and continue to go up and just keep going up. And with me to discuss the issues, Asani Tano, who is a Deputy Communication Director, CPP, my immediate left, and my own brother, cousin, Nana Fridua Afriata, MPP Communication Team member, and also Deputy Second Vice Chairman for the Eastern Region. But Asani was in the middle of the flow, and I cut him up. So let me bring you back.
I heard him talking about
all the NPP and the
all
NDC.
the things that CPP can do.
Yes.
He just wants to replace the N with the C.
What's Nana implying?
No, I understand it, but I wouldn't.
You don't agree.
I don't agree.
Then it means you like NPP.
No. We want to stand alone and fight our own fight, because it is only the Convention People's Party that would see this nation prospering. Like I said, change is very difficult, but we are trusting Ghanaians that 2016 would be the game changer. Increase in water 15%. We ask ourselves, how have the services been? And
well, they argue that, for now, water has got the biggest circulation ever. There's more infrastructure put in water, so well, that's the justification there.
You see, when you have levied the people so much, when they cannot even make ends meet, and you keep on increasing utility tariffs, then it becomes a problem. Their living condition become worse and worse. And indeed, every increment, be it 15% or 20%, means that you have added 15% in terms of poverty to the life of the individual in this country. Because I keep on saying the two structural adjustment parties have sought to build their parties and making the nation weaker. NPP and NDC are stronger than Ghana. And it is for this reason that we have this disparity and the class struggle that we find ourselves in. It appears that a lot of people are working and suffering, but it is a few who are enjoying. Dr. Nkrumah mentioned, and which we still hold in high esteem, that he was looking out for a day when the individual Ghanaian would be left alone in terms of personal taxes. It was going to be, eliminated or eradicated to ensure that the Ghanaian also have a breather. And this was going to take us into serious mechanization of agriculture for us to be able to have enough to export to cushion our city. But it has not been the case. The primary step to ensure that we turn this country around is through agriculture, mechanization of agriculture. That is the bane of our prosperity for now, the way we find ourselves, the situation we find ourselves in. So until we tackle that area holistically, the people of this country, the masses who give the president the power to operate, who has given our ministers the office to be in, are going to suffer. And it is for these reasons that the party, Convention People's Party, want to come back, take power, and ensure, because we are the only party that have a development plan. The 7-year development plan, which we were 2 years into, is still very, very relevant. Indeed, the only thing that is archaic in that particular document are the figures. Everything there is so relevant, and even relevant more than today. The speech on the 1st of July 1960, Dr. Kromas said that he could see in his mind's eye a prosperous Ghana with women engineers fixing our road and fixing our bridges. Women engineers leading in the helm of affairs, driving the tractors through the farms and ensuring that we have enough to feed our people. And indeed, that was going to culminate in the Union Government of Africa. And all these things are things that we have to consider in making sure that we get the best for our people.
Nana Vidya.
Are we back in 2015 yet?
We are not coming back to 2015.
I know Nana will say.
We're coming to 2015.
They've forgotten their history.
Nana, you see, the average man just sees the country in one massive free fall. My worry is that, yes, things should go up. About 51%, 15%, 800%, 300%. I mean, that's like, people coming up with a new pricing regime every day. Can it be helped? Or that's the reality of the situation? I mean, can it be helped? Or this is the reality of the situation?
These are the circumstances we find ourselves in.
No, but can it be helped?
I'm saying that we find ourselves in a situation where we appear not to be able to do anything else but this. The reality is that we could have been in a better situation, but for a certain problem, bad government. Bad government, period. There's nothing else to it. Why? Didn't we start deregulation a while ago? 2005 or so, for example, with fuel. What do we see now? Proliferation of OMCs. From where? Since 2009. From a few, barely 10 or so, now we're running about 20 or 30 or something like that. They've been empowered. That one, I'm told from the experts, it doesn't even matter. It's not too big a deal because apparently what government and the NPA is trying to tell us is not what is. The law insists that the NPA run with their formula, so they set a ceiling. So what the OMCs are offering us now, and this 15 or so % increase, is actually based on what the NPA has set. If they did anything else, they're going against the law. What they claim, and they're trying to pull themselves away, that's government, is trying to pull itself away, and the NPA trying to pull themselves away, led by Mr. Saga, of course, we know who Mr. Saga is, pull themselves away from that responsibility to appear as if they're away from the situation. It's actually not the case. Right now we're facing a fuel, I just went to try to buy 30 cedis worth of fuel, diesel. It wasn't 2 gallons. 30 cedis. In the old money, how much would that be? 30,000 or something like that. Yeah. That's how bad things are. Bad. And somehow we don't seem to see it. And your question begs that situation because you're not earning as much to balance it out. Today, my brother, when he came back to 215, he talked about the fact that, did I say 215? 2015. He talked about the fact that now the value of our money has gone down. Now, it's true. If in the case of electricity, you're paying some 51-point-something% of your 1 CD, if you're paying 1 CD for argument's sake, let's say a unit of electricity is a bucket full. So if you are paying 1 CD for that bucket full of electricity, now they're saying pay 1 CD 51 pesos or almost 52 pesos, which means because you haven't received new money to add to your money for which now there's value so that you can balance it off, your 1 CD is actually about 40-something pesos in real terms. So you have to look for new money. Where is it going to come from? in this environment they've created? So how do we really truly balance it out? This deregulation process, technically, is not supposed to be a bad idea. If you look at the fact that, well, let's try and get things to balance out. And let me say with pride, and it's paradoxical. No, it's a bit confusing. But in as much as I'm saying it with pride, it's also very humbling to note that Mr. Kufuor's era, that began this deregulation thing as we understand it now, did not face a forex problem.
Could it not be because
he did not face a corruption problem?
No, but could it not be that Kufuor had a lot of debt relief, and therefore he had the
based
time
on what?
Well, because he went into
good
HIPC.
Government management. That's what it was.
So he went into HIPC.
Well, is it not a good decision?
Well, either way.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that is the. You see,
for argument's sake,
for example,
sake.
we like to, and it's not you per se. No. We like to talk about things like HIPC as if it was an ailment, when it was relief. And it actually began to solve problems like you're raising.
Okay,
so now it gives you space to do what, and that is good management sense. We have to admit it. It is a fact.
So what I'm just trying to find out is it that we have now run out of space? Assuming Kufuor could run 4 terms, would he have been here?
Because we have a democracy, even when Mr. Kufuor had left, if Nana Akufo-Addo had come into office like we believe he was supposed
would he face these challenges?
No. Why? Because you just follow through on the trend that had been set. You don't have to have the exact same plan as before, but accept some basic trends. For example, is the deregulation process a gradual process such that you had partial deregulation in the beginning so that if prices go a certain way, the formula balances out? If government looks at the circumstances and says, okay, we'll cushion this for now.
No, but you see,
now we have a situation where Mr. Mahama's government and he and Professor Mills, their government, put us in a situation where when prices dropped to as low as $43 or so to a barrel, from $112 or so, they refused to drop fuel prices.
We were so much in debt.
How did that debt come?
Well, the debt came because
if you manage yourself, if you manage yourselves, you balance it out, it works out. Why? Wasn't there debt when Mr. Kufuor came?
No, so let me go back.
So I'm trying to answer your initial question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you balance it as partial deregulation, you balance it out until the people get used to it. So you have an Akufo-Addo government that is doing all the things necessary to stabilize the economy such that eventually when you get to deregulation like we're getting now, people don't get bogged down with pricing.
No, but Kufuor also let some of the toll debt. He didn't leave a zero balance.
Well, nobody left him a zero balance.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that you do is bring good government into place.
No, but
that's what he showed.
No, but haven't we run out of good governance? Now let me
my point.
Okay, let me go back to my question and finish it. Number one, Kufuor takes us to help HIPC. It's good governance. We'll give you that credit. So he gets debt relief to take his time to now start borrowing, building roads, doing this. In the meantime, you and I are eating rice, you are eating our Indomie, we are eating all things foreign. So we are putting pressure on the city. So gradually, the city has gotten to where it has gotten to because the population has increased. They need more diapers, they need more baby milk. And therefore, whether that was Nanado or not,
now who caused that?
You and I.
No. You see, there's the fact that we follow. That's why there's something called leadership, so that we follow. Now, if the system is encouraging a certain type of thinking, then let me go into 1960 somewhere with my brother. The reason, Dr. Nkrumah, when it comes to setting up the Ghanaian industry, Dr. Nkrumah cannot be faulted. It's because exactly he set up Ghanaian industry to feed the Ghanaian public. When you go to Dr. Buzia, he did a lot for Ghanaian industry. He even went into trying to get our human resource base to think Ghana based on a system, an educational system that would be Ghana based. That's the source of this JSS thing. Kimbu and others were set up. They were supposed to be a pilot program, and then you grow it. And then eventually we'll get to a point where you're building resources at a certain level that you don't have a problem. General Achampong, Operation Feed Yourself, very popular. The effect, we all know that. It even brought to bear on those of us, you and I, who were growing up in those days. We came to appreciate that you could grow tomatoes in your house if you didn't live in a village or somewhat like that. All those things were ways of getting us to appreciate who we are. Come a certain group of people in government, antecedents of AFRC, PNDC, and what have you. What happens to us? They open the floodgates, liberalize everything. How much regulation was there? How much regulation? When you and I were children, chicken that was bought and eaten was locally grown and thing.
I will go vote.
So really, it is this government.
No, I see.
It is a failing on their part. Look at what they've done with exports and things over there. Right now we have Doomso. So what guarantees? I'm waiting for the day multimedia and all the other media houses will tell us their bill last year for using generators and how much that cost all of you who work with them, because you could have had good bonuses.
Asani, you see, I know leadership takes a blame. What I'm trying to figure out is what percentage should leadership take? Because, we have developed this attitude as a people where, even if you put rice here and you brought stones from America, we would rather eat the stones because it's got made in USA rating on it. And therefore, we are demanding more cities. We have the bigger part of our GDP is not owned by Ghanaians. The oil companies, the telephone companies, and every month or every 3 months, they will take their profits and ship it back out to where they came from. We don't even want to go and buy from Goil. I keep telling people that, listen, go out of your way and buy your petrol from Goil. That is yours. The profit will stay here. But we won't. Everybody will buy from some other foreign company, So we do all this and we sit down and we say, where does the leadership come in? How much blame do they take?
Nana, I have two nanas here.
Yeah.
And you see, I would only agree with my brother, Nana Fredria, on one cause, that it all boils down to bad governance and indeed bad leadership. But you see, the two parties are not different. They are the same. In the governance of ex-President Kufuor, he had HIPIC. He tagged us with HIPIC. Indeed, we were not supposed to have, been tagged as HIPIC. But he did. And so he got debt relief, of which its use, we even have question marks today.
I was hoping you'd ask him why he said that we were not supposed to.
You tagged with HIPIC. I
thought he would explain that.
Yes, I would. To tag Ghanaians as HIPIC would have meant that we had nothing at all. We have enormous resources. So it is the tapping of the resource that you people had a problem, for which reason we found ourselves in that heap of debt, you understand? So you declare as HIPIC, which means that you've gotten some money in-house to operate. Now, we could not see concrete evidence of the developmental efforts that the NPP government put in place. You come to NDC, and they also have oil.
But you must give Kufuor credit for a lot of social intervention.
Sincerely speaking, if you want me to, grade the two parties, even though they are very, very much the same, I would say I was brought to Accra through a staunch NDC, one of the Sawyer families. And indeed, being a Sawyer family, there was no way we were going to vote any other party. I voted. Indeed, when Rawlings went out of power, I didn't want to watch television because I never wanted to see ex-President Kufuor's face. But after 2 years, 3 years into his governance, I saw that there were improvements. So 2004, I voted for NPP. And then during the last 2 years of their tenure of office, I realized the wanton dissipation of, the public funds. Extravagant spending and loud noise. So I changed my mind and I voted again in 2008 for Convention People's Party after reading some books of Dr. Nkrumah, which means that as a human being, you must have some kind of change attitude in you. So I'm saying that NPP had HIPIC money, which they should have used judiciously to develop this country. And we speak mostly on agriculture. Now, they only built toilets and then wrote on them, HIPIC, this. The kind of development that they put in place.
But I think the country still gets $250,000 on
yes,
a yearly basis.
Through that. But how has the use been? And who is monitoring it? Now, if you come to NDC, which is even worse, they have oil money together with the inflow of the leftover of HIPIC. And we are still not, they have borrowed more than any other government in the history of Ghana. Yet, the tangibles cannot be seen. And this is where we have a problem.
Tangibles, I mean, there are roads, there are hospitals springing up, there are, there are quite a few things.
See,
I mean, all Kukumlemle roads have been tarred. East Legon is now getting some pavements.
Ghana doesn't deserve this. If for 23 years into our democracy, we have not been able to serve the masses, giving them good governance, giving them what they need. At
schools are coming up, 200 schools are coming up, 73 nearly ready. I mean, I'm just trying to...
What is the quality of the schools that are being built? Can you pinpoint one school in this country that have a robotic department? Can you pinpoint one school that have a very modern...
I think the NDC has entered my pen. It's not right.
A very modern science lab. We have been, the world is developing through, robotics and aeronautics. In Ghana, in Dr. Nkrumah's time, he says I shouldn't refer, but he was referring to...
I never said that.
He was referring to President Ford that if Mr. Akufo had come to power, he would have treaded on Mr. Akufo's achievement. And so we are saying that back in 1960s thereabout, we had a gliding school at Afienya. And at that time, prototypes of aeroplanes that we call them drones today were being manufactured in Ghana. The school was there. People were being trained to, as it were, become aeronautic engineers and do everything possible. And that was the school. It was Hitler's pilot who was in charge of that school. Today, that school, I have all the evidence on this phone with pictures and everything of prototype of aeroplanes that were manufactured in our own country. We have started building our own boats. We could have by now building our own ships. All these things, have been relegated to the background. But for this 2015 era, and let's say 2014, governance have been so abysmal, and it has been so personalized to, favor a few people, without a commensurate, measure to the masses who at least have gotten some jobs doing. And for 3 years now, we have been in doomsday, and so a lot of people are at home. How do you expect those people to survive in these austerity measures that you have put in place? So for me, I feel that if any government has failed this country, the NDC stands out. They have woefully failed this country. They have ensured that resources of this country have been amassed to themselves, a few individuals.
Is it not that they put in investment which we are going to reap the benefits? I mean, I went to Kumasi, I think, last weekend. I mean, all by Suhum, it was all tarred from Accra to Kumasi, all by, a little, just by the bridge in Suhum. So, I mean, if you say you can't see anything.
That was after Nananum went on a demonstration, as people have liked to tag it. The NDC likes to tag it. When Nananum went around the eastern region to highlight the fact that we had issues, your media house was there. And then the president came back. And then suddenly they found $150 million, which is tagged cocoa money, and some of which is being used to fix those roads. What were they doing in 2009 when that road was being constructed and they could have continued with GOG money? What were they doing then? But let me just sort my brother out. Back in 2015, the reality is that HIPIC needs to be understood better by him. I think you need to go and read about it so that you can appreciate it. Because for politicians, regardless of where you stand and how you see things, at this point in our lives as Ghana, it is the truth that we should work with. When you start working from the truth, everything works out. You can have your position on the truth, but the truth is the truth. The truth is that HIPIC was not a tag. We did not have resources. If we did, we wouldn't have needed HIPIC. The reason we qualified to collect those monies that were collected, and the money is not collected as in go and take it and bring it. It's generated from us. but it doesn't go to pay off a debt which we have outstanding.
And I need to take a break here. I think,
but we need this education. If he doesn't understand it, we need to clarify it out there for the public to understand that. Because when you start saying what you said, then it's a problem.
Okay, let me take a break, and when I come back, what I want to really find out is, I mean, is this it, or is it just going to keep going up and up and up? I mean, until what happens?
It's going to get worse.
So I'm going to take a break and we'll find out, you know, how worse is it going to get? Is this it, or does it get worse than this? Don't move. Utility price hikes, and I'm just trying to find out if indeed we are paying realistic prices, and if not, I mean, how high is it going to go? I mean, how worse is it going to get? Now, let me start with you again. I mean, number one, well, I mean, it's 4 cedis, 50 pesos to the dollar is like 7 cedi to the pound. So maybe if these guys are buying fuel at these rates, then that's how much they have to sell it.
We can't fault them. We can't fault them because the formula, the major component in the formula, the dictator in the formula is the foreign exchange component. That's what the experts tell us manages our situation. So now if you're in February, you put in an order and the dollar was around 3.3. We're in 1st, 2nd July, and it's 4.5 on the streets, 4.6 almost on the streets, over a city. What do you expect them to do? So we can't blame them. Like I was trying to establish with you earlier, it's the NPA that sets the ceiling. So it means that they've raised the ceiling and so allowed the OMCs or BDCs to increase it. Now, what's the source of the problem of our money? It's about government. What has it done with our export base, for example? I see it as, first of all, they even came into office scaring business. I know people whose businesses packed up. They packed up their businesses and left when this government came into office. When they came...
I thought this government has been quite friendly with business.
With which government? With which business? If it's not their business, they're not friendly. We know that.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't
Have
think
you
so.
forgotten all these companies that were being chased and shut down?
I mean, once upon
all the Kingdom and all those other companies. The local ones, oh. I'm not talking, the local ones. And the ones we heard about. There's some who kept quiet because they tried to find a way out so they wouldn't get it publicized. Others, we happened to hear about them. All those companies.
Aren't you sure companies will invade tax, and as soon as you attack them, they go, oh,
is it tax invasion? Really, truly? Or somebody was witch hunting? Now, what are the realities on the ground about this export? First of all, you don't create the environment. We have high interest rates. How did that come about? We have, again, Dumso, and we have Inzioma, all kinds of situations. So when you put all that together, how does that positively influence the possibilities for your export base? At what point does it become encouraging? Now, you go into another situation where the government is overspending. And the overspending is not even to the benefit of the public. It's to the benefit of their pockets. And it's been exposed. This matter of corruption, when we talk about it, people think it's about just politics. Yes, it's about politics because the NPP believes that when Nana Akufo-Addo is president, we know, everybody knows, that he has no bone of corruption in his body.
But
so
maybe he may not be corrupt.
It is not. Don't change the direction of the argument. We're talking about leadership here. Why? Are we not in a situation where the sitting government we've had people pointed at, you want me to mention names, pointed at, who have questions about themselves, and they're still in office, about money, and they're still in office. And those who are not in office are walking around free, and sometimes they even want to cover up for them. Don't we have those situations? Look at all these situations with the famous judgment debts, including the recent one, 197 or something like that, million. Yeah? All that. And look at how they're going about trying to manage it. All these things accumulate. And so when you sit back, it's going to affect your money. It's going to affect the way things happen. Suddenly, you find money to construct roads that should have been constructed years ago, and that money too was sitting there. What were you doing with it before? All kinds of issues come up that are affecting these increases. You see, now, if things are supposed to go up for any reason other than what we're having to go through, If our economy was in a good state, I don't think that the complaint would be as much. There will be complaint regardless, but it won't be on this level of people being in dire straits where people are not confident about tomorrow. Today I was in the bank and somebody was telling me that he was going for his treasury bills and he can't reinvest them.
Now let me take.
Where are we going?
Let me go to the lines and let me speak to Adina. But this is the phone number 0302 211 701 0302 211 701 702 703 704. So you can keep calling. Hello, Adina. Hello.
It's Adina. It's calling from Apple.
Very good. Speak to me. You're on there.
Good evening, Master.
Good evening. Let me hear your take on this issue.
Please, I want to greet the NDP. Please, I want to greet the NDP man over there.
Well, he's greeting you back. Well, that's why you called. Well, thank you very much. Who's my next caller? Kenneth. Let me speak to Kenneth.
Hello?
Hello, Kenneth. You're on air.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some clarity.
Okay.
There's this issue of the other man talking of the epic that they went to was more or less caused by, but I think that there are signals. There are signals that are things like if you are 30%, you have failed the exams. If you are 16 and above, maybe you have passed. So before they were given the epic benefits, it means that there was a score that when you go beyond that, you are declared epic.
Okay, so you must have borrowed, a certain percentage to the point where.
We're talking of GDP to debt ratio.
Thank you.
It's not a decision that we're like, Ghana, we can just get up one day and decide we are going epic, and then you just agree that yes, you go epic.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much for that correction. Let me speak to James. But if you call, lower your TV set and then listen through the phone.
One who had the problem with
you see. Hello, James.
Wow. Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, Anna.
Good evening, James.
Yeah. About this, our economic situation. Our government has never told us the truth. When they were going to the IMF, we questioned them. They tell us we are not going for any bailout. Eventually, we went. We are in crisis. They tell us it's a challenge. Now, we suspect they are going to lay off workers. They tell us it's not going to happen. So as for this particular government, their strategy is to lie and to deny, to lie and deny until the harm is done. Seriously, where we've gotten to today, I don't think there is any remedy. I think we just have to pray and hope that it gets better someday, because it's terrible. Increasing salaries are stagnant. We are increasing fuel prices, utility bills, everything is skyrocketing. And everybody, the TUC, they are sitting there and watching.
Well, the TUC, thank you very much. But the TUC, I think they released a statement that they couldn't accept this anymore. But I don't know how far.
I'm surprised. I mean, I'd expect them to be hitting the streets so we can join them. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Let me take Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin.
Hello, sir.
Will these prices affect you, or you are okay? These price hikes?
Yes, it is affecting me.
Wow.
As a Ghanaian, I pay tax. And I bet you, the fact still remains that my salary has not been increased. There was something that came on our salary called, what do you call it? I've forgotten of the Nicola. Now, the Nicola has been replaced, the 10% has now been replaced with only 3%. And imagine the astronomical increases in what? Tariff and whatnot. It doesn't commensurate with what has been given and what I'm even earning. To me, the government of the day, it is like the world is coming to an end, and therefore they must grab everything left and right and then just go away. That is what is happening. It's serious thievery, stealing. That is why we are suffering. Not as if God has not blessed us. We've been blessed. Let me tell you, in the past, in the APP administration, they only benefited from what? APP. If you look at the level of borrowing from this government, coupled with the oil money that has come into the country, it is unprecedented. So there was no way the government could say that, indeed, we are suffering because of what? salary increase and whatnot. That is the minutest part of the problem. But the biggest aspect of it has to do with what is massive corruption here and there and incompetence. That is what is killing us. And the rest of it all, propaganda is what is killing them and nothing else.
Let me speak to Thomas. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
Yes, Thomas, you're on air.
Good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
Yeah, I'm calling from Mankeshin.
Talk to me.
Yes, I want to react to what my gentleman for CPP there is talking about. That Akufo sent Ghana to HEPIC.
I think
Why did he do that? When he came to power, there was nothing. So there was no money. And it was so prudent for him to decide to go to HEPIC that people will come to us. And he said he only built toilets. He built schools, he built hospitals. Pregnant women were not paying money at hospitals. National health insurance. Let him tell the whole Ghanaians, what program has this government brought to Ghana that we, the working class, have benefited from it?
Thank you very much, Thomas. Let me speak to Jesse. Hello, Jesse.
Yeah, Nana, good evening.
Good evening.
Nana, I think the problem that we are facing in this country is with the elite. You know, the elite has denied the poor. Why am I saying that? You walk through our streets, the elite are driving their private cars. They don't care about the poor. This government has taken advantage of the silence of the elite to cheat the poor. They increase prices and they put in foot soldiers and people who speak on radio to just defend the increment. They increase any tariff and they put in people in to defend the increment. I think it's about time the elite incite the poor. The people who don't understand the ordinary things, they talk about GDP, they talk about inflation, and they don't understand that people should reduce these technical things to the understanding of the poor, so that the poor can appreciate what they are feeling. As we speak now, inflation has gone up by 17%. But how can the poor understand that? It has reduced their wealth. Now, as we speak now, prices are going up. This is what is affecting the poor. And I think the elite has to incite the poor, push the government to do better things for the poor. They are now riding big cars. How enjoying? And what is happening to the poor? It's about time that we push this government because they are doing it very bad.
Thank you very much. Let me speak to Suleiman, and I hope, Suleiman, as for you, the price increase is fine for you and you are not struggling.
Thank you very much, Nana.
Yes, my brother.
And sincerely, what is happening in the country currently is very, very terrible. I think we can't be in a country where virtually every day there's an increase in prices. It's very, very disheartening. Now, school children, and the parents cannot take their children to school because they can't pay just a little feeding fee for their work. School feeding has virtually collapsed. And it's very disheartening. I don't know why our government is now looking up on this. I think something should be done as early as possible. Otherwise, I'm afraid that terrible thing will happen. People will take arms against each other.
I hope nobody takes arms, but
that is what we are hoping for. But I think things must change as early as possible. Sincerely, it's not the best. I'm a teacher. And sincerely, if I tell you how parents are suffering to pay their ward fees, then you'll be marveled. In fact, in a more less deprived schools, so you'll be starting to see how parents are struggling to manage to get ordinary fees, hundreds of cities to pay for their ward fees. Terrible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother. Let me speak to Kweku. Kweku, I know, can sort out his bills, and 51% or not, he should be fine. Hello, Kweku.
Hello, Nana.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening, my brother.
I salute Nana Fredia.
Salute you back.
I'm calling from Agosobo.
Well,
Nana, I have a
close to your hometown.
In fact, where Ghana is going today, is very terrible. For about 10 months continuous, crude oil prices has remained between $40 and $60 per barrel. And as of today, nobody can tell what Ghanaians have to go through in all this for whatever money they have accrued
for all this period. So, Nana, whenever you think dollar prices or the dollar rate is going high, and for that matter, Ghanaians should suffer for it. Consider the fuel that we are increasing, and then use the money that we have accrued to subsidize some of these things so that Ghanaians will be free.
Kwaku, thank you very much. Let me speak to Bukari in Upper West.
15% on fuel.
Hello?
Hello, Bukari. 15% on water and 51% on electricity.
Okay.
Yes.
Nana, you see, currently Ghanaians, we are fed up with this government. Honestly, we are fed up. I just can't imagine how the government is governing this country. Let me just refer you back to IEA debate. Nana Akufo-Addo stated that health insurance is dying. Come and see the way Mahamat actually responded to him. It's not dying, it's not going to die under my watch. That is a pledge I'm giving to Ghanaians. What is happening now? Honestly, I don't know why they keep on deceiving Ghanaians. So honestly, I think that the leadership of John Mahama has actually he has actually disappointed us as Northerners. Me like this, I'm not even proud to even say that I'm a Northerner sometimes when I find myself in the midst of people. So please, he should just actually make sure that his leadership he has put it in order, so that he and his ministers and all those people, they should tell Ghanaians the truth. At least, if at all they can't do anything, but they should tell us the truth.
Thank you, Bukari. But I wish I had one caller who, it's okay with the system.
Why are you wishing for that? It isn't okay. It isn't.
I mean, there must be somebody who's
that will not be. No, I'm doing some maths here, and I don't know how good it is. But if I add 52% and 15% and 15%, it comes to about 82 of one city. So really, and I need somebody to correct me, but if we're saying that we're taking 82 pesos, we're adding 82 pesos to our one city as a bill, it means that the real value of your one city has dropped to what? About 18 pesos. One city. If my math is right, the value of your money,
fuel, your water,
and electricity has dropped. Right now, when you're holding one city, it is worth 18 pesos. If my math is right, I need somebody to.
So you get 18 pesos worth of goods.
Yes.
A drop of petrol, a drop of leads.
Basically, you are left with 18 pesos.
Anyway,
if my thinking, what I'm trying to argue is right, you're left with that. We're in trouble.
Well, all too soon time is up, but I hope. Let me give you the last word.
Yes, because
quickly round up for you.
Yes, I'm so surprised about the fact that people think that the Conventional People's Party do not understand the issue about HIPIC. It is just about
because of how you stated it,
and I stand by that. You see, it is just bad governance.
But it wasn't bad governance from Kufuor. It was bad governance from
somebody. Yes, and it is these two parties that have been power.
Okay.
So it is irresponsible for a government to be in power and think that
the crew is getting me off air.
Wow, because I have not spoken. He has taken all the time.
I am so sorry, but I hope that we can continue this conversation. As I always say, thank you very much. I want to say thank you very much to Tantiz. Now, Tantiz is spelled T-A-N-T-Z. So those of you who are looking for Tantiz on Facebook, and you can call them on 024-366-2001. 024, yeah, they made my shirt. They make all my shirts for the show. They make really nice shirts. 024-366-2001. And the profit stays in Ghana as well. It doesn't get repatriated. But thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. You see now. So Sandy, thank you, and Nana Fredia, thank you too.
Thank you.
Great.